I am recording the video, and today's topic is dependency injection in C#. It is the onus of every software developer to create applications that run smoothly and efficiently and that require little to no maintenance. Further, code for these apps should be well maintainable and extensible so that the code base can be updated to add functionality in later versions and releases. As developers, it is worth remembering that the more maintainable our code is, the more it can easily be tested and reused. A good practice to make a code more maintainable is through the use of dependency injection. Loosely coupled code is always an asset when it comes to code reusability and testing. It is easier for programmers to add new feature if the code is well maintained. To that, using dependency injection in your application makes your code loosely coupled. In this C# programming tutorial, we are covering the concept of dependency injection and how it used to couple code loosely in C#. What is code dependency in C#? Code dependency is an important concept to understand regardless of the programming language you create software in. It can be more readily understood if you think of some component in application that has a dependency on some other components to accomplish its task. There are even times when the required components may be present in different classes or services within the program. For example, if class A uses another class service B, then A is dependent on B to accomplish its task. In such cases, both components A and B are said to be coupled together. This coupling may either be loosely coupled or tightly coupled. Components are that depends heavily on other components are considered tightly coupled, while those that are less dependent would in turn fall under the umbrella of loosely coupled. The more the code has dependency on other components, the less the code will be reusable. If the components are coupled loosely, then we can reuse the code more effectively, and to achieve the goal of loosely coupled code dependency, we use dependency injection. What is dependency injection in C#? To understand dependency injection properly, we have to first understand the concept of dependency inversion and inversion of control. The concept of dependency inversion states that high-level modules should depend on abstraction rather than on low-level modules. Inversion of control enables programmers to change the normal flow of programming. It helps in reducing code dependency. Inversion of control transfers the control of the object to a framework, and that framework in turn will have the responsibility to resolve dependencies among different modules and classes at runtime. Dependency injection helps programmer to write loosely coupled code and help reduce the tight coupling of code among components. Dependency injection further enables developers to achieve less coupling among components and thus contributes to writing readable, maintainable code. It also makes the code more flexible, which in turn make it easy to test the code, find error and resolve bug. One of the major advantages of dependency injection is that it enables developers to reduce the tight coupling of modules and components among other components. It also makes the code more reusable and makes it easy to test application. Lastly, it changes the workflow of an application by reducing the amount of code being written for commonly executed tasks. How to implement dependency injection in C Sharp? There are three ways you can use the dependency injection pattern in your C Sharp application. They are: first, constructor injection; second, property injection; third, method injection. What is the constructor injection in C Sharp? Constructor injection is one of the most widely used method for implementing dependency injection when developing applications. By using constructor dependency injection, you can inject the dependent class object through the constructor. The injected component can then be used anywhere across different class method. What is the property injection in C Sharp? Property injection in the process of injecting dependent class object through the property. It is the preferred method when a class has optional dependencies, as dependency can be injected without changing the object state. What is the modal injection in C Sharp? Next, we have the method known as method injection. Method injection is the process used to inject the dependent class object through method. With method injection, the dependency can be injected into a specific class method and is then used when the whole class does not require dependency. Conclusion to dependency injection. So far, we have seen what dependency injection is and how you can implement this design pattern in C Sharp to create loosely coupled classes. In a real world software application, there may be components that have dependencies on other components. For any programmer, this can be tedious and time consuming task to manage those components effectively. In a such situation, dependency injection helps the developer to change the workflow of the software application and create loosely coupled code. In the previous chapter related to DIP, we created and used abstraction to make the classes loosely coupled. Here we are going to implement dependency injection and strategy pattern together to move the dependency object creation completely out of the class. This is our third party step in making the classes completely loose coupled. Dependency injection is a design pattern used to implement IOC. It allows the creation of dependent objects outside of the class and provide those objects to a class through a different ways. Using dependency injection, we move the creation and binding of the dependent object outside of the class and dependent on them. The dependency injection pattern involves three types of classes. First, client class. The client class dependent class is a class which depends on the service class. Second, service class. Service class dependency is a class that provides a service to the client class. Injector class. The injector class injects the service class objects into the client class. As you can see, the injector class creates an object of the service class and injects that object to a client object. In this way, the TI pattern separates the responsibility of creating an object of the service class out of the client class. Thank you.